I spent 7 years chasing transformation through self-help books, vision boards, and habit tracking apps. I added morning routines, meditation practices, and productivity systems to my life. Yet nothing fundamentally changed. I was still the same person with the same limitations. Then I discovered something counterintuitive. Real transformation doesn't happen through addition, it happens through subtraction. Today, I'll show you why removing parts of your identity creates space for the person you actually want to become. Most people believe their biggest enemy is external circumstances, but the real saboteur lives inside your own mind and has been running your life on autopilot for years. While you're busy fighting against lack of time, difficult people, or financial constraints, there's an invisible force working against every attempt you make to change. This force doesn't care about your dreams or your potential. It only cares about keeping you exactly where you are. Your brain operates something called identity homeostasis. Think of it as your psychological thermostat. Just like a thermostat maintains a consistent temperature in your house, identity homeostasis maintains a consistent version of who you believe yourself to be. When you try to become someone different, even someone better, this system kicks into high gear to pull you back to your baseline identity. It doesn't matter if the change is positive or negative. Your brain treats any deviation from your established self-concept as a threat that must be corrected. This mechanism explains why 90% of people who read self-help books fail to see lasting change. You absorb the information, feel motivated, maybe even take action for a few weeks. Then something happens. You start self-sabotaging without understanding why. You procrastinate on important tasks. You make decisions that contradict your stated goals. Your brain literally rewires itself to pull you back to old patterns because those patterns match your existing identity. The psychological warfare happening inside your mind during transformation attempts is more intense than most people realize. When you try to act like a confident person but see yourself as insecure, your subconscious creates internal conflict. It whispers that you're being fake, that people will see through you, that you should stop pretending to be someone you're not. When you try to exercise regularly but identify as lazy, your mind generates elaborate justifications for skipping workouts. It makes you forget your gym clothes, schedule conflicting appointments, or suddenly feel exhausted right when it's time to exercise. Your neural pathways function like well-worn hiking trails in your brain. Every time you think a familiar thought or perform a habitual action, you strengthen that trail. When you attempt identity change while holding on to your old self-concept, you're essentially trying to create new neural pathways while continuing to walk down the old ones. The old pathways remain stronger, making it nearly inevitable that you'll return to familiar patterns during moments of stress or decision fatigue. Conventional goal setting and habit-building methods actually strengthen the very identity you're trying to escape from. When you set a goal to lose weight but still see yourself as someone who struggles with food, every small failure reinforces your original identity. When you try to build a habit of waking up early but maintain the belief that you're not a morning person, every time you hit the snooze button confirms your limiting self-concept. You're adding new behaviors on top of an unchanged foundation. Your brain treats positive change as a threat to survival, activating the same defense mechanisms it would use against physical danger. This happens because your current identity, regardless of how limiting it might be, represents safety and predictability. Your subconscious mind reasons that if you've survived this long with your current personality traits and behavioral patterns, changing them could be dangerous. So it floods your system with anxiety, doubt, and resistance whenever you attempt to step outside your established identity boundary. Most transformation experts completely miss the counterintuitive solution to this problem. They focus on adding new habits, setting bigger goals, or developing stronger willpower. But you can't build a new identity on top of an old one. It's like trying to construct a house on a foundation that's already occupied by another structure. The key isn't fighting this system, but understanding how to work with it through strategic identity removal. Instead of trying to become someone new while holding on to who you currently are, you need to create space by systematically dismantling the parts of your identity that no longer serve you. This process requires surgical precision in identifying which aspects of your self-concept need to disappear before authentic transformation becomes possible. True transformation requires the courage to temporarily exist in the uncomfortable void between who you were and who you're becoming. This space feels uncertain because you released your old identity but haven't fully formed your new one yet. Most people run back to familiar patterns during this phase, but this void is where real change happens. Right now, identify one limiting belief or behavior you can strategically remove starting today. Stop saying you're bad with money, not a morning person, or terrible at relationships. Remove these identity labels completely. You now possess the knowledge to break free from identity homeostasis and create space for your authentic self to emerge.